Welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how to build an image gallery using Angular and Oracle Content Headless CMS. This sample demonstrates how Oracle Content's taxonomy support can be used to effectively categorize data. In this case, it is used to sort images, but it can also be applied to any other asset type supported by OCE. My name is Peter Grundy, and I am a developer working on Headless CMS samples here at Oracle. The first step we need to take is to clone the repository from GitHub. This code is publicly available for you to use, extend, or comment on. To perform this, we need to copy the URL from GitHub and open a command prompt. We then run git clone, passing in the URL. We then go into the project and open an editor. For my purpose, I will be using Visual Studio Code. The next step we need to take is to install the libraries that this application will need in order to run. To do this, we open up a console and run npm install. Now we will take a look at two files that have important roles in the configuration of the application. The first is package.json, a standard configuration file for a Node.js application such as the sample. It defines the scripts that will be used to build and run the sample, as well as listing the dependencies needed to make the sample run. For this tutorial, we'll be using the build and the start scripts to create a production build of the sample and display it. The next file we will look at is the .env file. This file is where we can configure various environment variables that are used to connect to the Oracle Content Server. These include the URL to the server and the channel token identifying the publishing channel that our assets are associated with. These two settings must be defined for the application to function. It can also control whether the app will display already published data or use a preview mode to display new information that is yet to be made public. Viewing unpublished data requires the use of OAuth authentication, which is also configured using the env file. The next step we will be taking is to build the application. This is done by running npm run build in the console. This will take a few moments to complete. To run the sample, we will then execute npm run start. This starts up a web server on port 8080 that we can use to view the application. Now we can take a quick tour of the application. For the home page, we query Oracle Content Management for all the taxonomies and then get the categories for each of them. Each category is then rendered with a preview of 4 images of the items inside that category, along with its name and the number of items inside it. If we click on a category preview, the application will then open a tiled view displaying all the images belonging to that category. A final feature of the category page is that we can click on any one of the tiled images and open a full-sized view of that image in a pop-up. From there, we can navigate in the pop-up to the next or previous image in the category. Closing the pop-up, you will note there's also a control to return to the home page. As a final part of this tutorial, we will now look at the code layout and discuss the roles of selected source files within the application. A quick look at the source tree shows the following directories. App contains the source files for the application views and data management. This is standard Angular code and does not have to have any unusual modifications to work with Oracle content. App Gallery contains the code to render each category summary displayed in the home page. App Home contains the code to take a set of categories and create a page with an array of the aforementioned gallery components. App Image Grid takes care of displaying all the images belonging to a given category in a grid. One source file worth noting is appmodule.ts, which brings together the display components and data resolvers used to load and populate the views. The assets directory contains some static icons that are used in the views. All other images shown in the application have been retrieved from Oracle Content using the Oracle Content SDK. Environments contains the configuration settings for development and production builds. Interfaces contains a single file that defines the data structures used to represent the Oracle Content data in the application. Resolvers contains the functions used to trigger the retrieval of data from the server. The files in here don't make direct calls to the Oracle Content SDK, but use the wrappers defined in the scripts directory. Finally, scripts contains the code used to interface with the Oracle Content SDK. The server config utils file in scripts brings in the Oracle Content SDK and uses the imported utility classes to easily retrieve published data or to preview data. The services.js file contains application-specific utility functions to retrieve and organize data for the resolvers defined above. For the home page, it provides the following. It can enumerate all the taxonomies defined on a channel. For each taxonomy, it can then get a list of all the categories defined in it. And finally, it builds a structure mapping each category to a list of the images belonging to it. For the image grid page, it offers a wrapper function that can get a list of all the images belonging to a given category. This concludes this tutorial for using Angular and Oracle Content to build an image gallery application. Thank you.